Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Thursday, the 12th of October. As we gather this morning, I have just recently finished reading a book called Starting at the Beginning, Christian Basics for Faith and Life. And it's written by a colleague of mine, a priest from the Diocese of Edmonton. He has a church, St. Margaret's in Edmonton, Alberta. And this is a book he wrote years ago, but he's recently, during COVID and just beyond, updated it. And this is my first time I've had this book. And I'm reading it. I've given a copy away. It's so good. Really encourage you. You can go on Amazon.com and find this by Tim Chesterton. Starting at the beginning, Christian Basics for Faith and Life. I want to share with you something he's written now. He takes this, the way he does footnotes is a little bit different than anybody who's ever done university. It's not very specific, but he gives credit where credit is due. So I am going to give credit. He talks about here the idea of a Christian story as a play in 6 acts, which is a modification of an idea by Tom Wright, from the New Testament and the People of God, from pages 140 to 141, further developed by Richard Middleton and Brian Walsh. Truth is Stranger Than It Used to Be. Downers Grove InterVarsity Press, 1995, page 182 and 240. So there's the plug for where it came from. But he says, this is what Tim says in his book. He says, Tom Wright illustrates it like this. Suppose a previously unknown play by Shakespeare was discovered, but with one act missing. What could you do? He suggests you could gather together the world's most experienced Shakespearean actors, get them to read Acts 1 to 4 and Act 6 until the play is second nature to them, and then get them to improvise the missing act. If they're going to do a good job of it, they'll need to be true to Acts 1 to 4 and connect with the start of Act 6. We know of people who have done this. Last year, my Wainwright book club, St. Thomas Club book group, read a book called by Rachel Held Evans, in which she died before she finished it. She had written quite a bit of it, but a friend of hers wrote it. And having never read anything by Rachel Held Evans before, I found it seamless. Other people could see there were differences and they weren't necessarily very happy about them. But for somebody who'd never read that book, her books before, the writing to me was seamless. And for other people who appreciate her work, who are and know where she was coming from, have said that it was really a good representation. If she'd been able to finish it herself, that probably would have been what she said. We see it happen with singers. A songwriter dies, and someone gets hold of their notes and realizes that they had an almost complete song written, and they finish it off for them. And when they have listened to that singer and they've immersed themselves in their style and the way that they thought and the way they sang, they're able then to very effectively and with a great deal of integrity finish that song, like flesh it out so that it really could indeed be something that original singer would be pleased that had been carried on for them. And Tim is talking about the Acts of the Apostles, or not really the Acts of the Apostles, the book of the Bible being a series of acts of a play. There's creation, there's rebellion, and let's see here. Act 1 is creation, the second one is rebellion. Act 3 is Israel. Act 4 is Jesus, when Jesus showed up. And then he says there's Act 6, which is the end. But we're missing Act 5. And he said that's because that act is still being written. It's being written by us. We are part of the act of the Bible. Now, some people would argue with me and say the Bible is canon. It's written. All things necessary for salvation are found in the Bible as it is presented. We cannot add to it, nor can we take away from it. Absolutely. As a book, I haven't got one at hand, but as a book, absolutely. I'm not suggesting that we add to it or take anything from it. But if we think of the book, the Bible, as also not just that physical thing with paper and covers, but if we think of it as a living document, because it doesn't just tell us history. The Bible tells us that how we're supposed to live our lives. And the fact is that, like, the book of Revelation, in my opinion, does not predict some kind of end days coming, that from the Left Behind series, where people are going to be, assumed into heaven and other people are just going to see their clothes sitting on the seat. For me, the book of Revelation is telling us as a metaphor. It's telling us about what will happen when the world comes to recognize Christ. When when the time comes for life as we know it to be trans translated, I'm not sure what the word is I'm looking for is, but when it moves from being what it is to what it will become. And the fact is that it hasn't become that yet, which means we are living in Act 5. We are the characters, we are the actors. Indeed, we are the writers of that missing act. And the best way that we can write, the best way that we can live and act and play our part in this living out of the Christian, of the biblical world, of the biblical hopes. I don't think that God had many hopes for the Bible. I think that's a man-made thing. But for us to be able to be faithful to what was happening before us and what is to come after us, whatever that may be and whenever it may be, we have to be those actors, those people working and living in this space and time in Act 5, who are indeed so immersed and so familiar with all of the stuff that came before us that we can live with integrity and continuity that which went before us and live into what has been promised in the end. We have an idea of, metaphorically, of what the end is. How do we live our lives in such a way that will be a moment of continuity and not one of those like endings where you come so far in the story and then bang, it switches gears and you're left thinking like that really sucked. That was a really bad storyline. How do we live our lives in such a way that people looking on us would be able to say, Rachel's life right till the end was seamless with the story that God was walking her through. Her contributions where you can't tell where God spoke and where she wrote the parts, that she was so in tune with what God was doing that she carried that on. Now, that is my hope and dream that people get there and think that of my life. I have no preconceived notions that ever going to happen, because anybody looking at my life is going to like, oh, there was a hiccup, and that's where she forgot to step up on stage, and that's where she lost her voice, and that's where she's like completely garbled everything she was saying, and that's where she just went on ad lib, and that's life. And I think God just says, okay, you took a left turn, I'm going to join you, and we're going to get you back on path. But this idea that, that there's no preconceived stuff, God gives us free will. We have the choices we can make. And it's like a choose your own adventure story where in the end, the outcome is beautiful. And right now, we each get to write how that choose your own adventure goes. We get to write that Act 5. But it will work better for us in the long run if we allow ourselves to become familiar and intimately familiar, like really, really know all the stuff that went before us, and then live into the hope of what we've been promised lies ahead of us. I really like that image. Now, I have completely bungled that up, so I really do hope that you go online and order this book from Tim. He doesn't make a lot of money off it, but he's put his heart and soul into it, and he's got a lot of really good wisdom in here, and it's so easy to understand. He has not written like a theologian. He's written like you're a great teacher that you remember as the one who, over the years you realize everything I learned from Mr. Chesterton. So I really do encourage you to check out this book on Amazon. Um, Look it up. I think you can get it on Kindle as well if you don't want to order a hard copy. But I really do encourage you. And it allows you, if you're not a believer or if you are new to the faith, it'll gives you opportunity to jump, just to go into it a little bit and ask questions and say, okay, yeah, I get that. I can agree with that. No, I don't agree with that. But he's not highfalutin and he's not hard to listen to. Just he's a good writer. So think about whether you read the book or not. Think about what it means to you to write your part of the play, and how will your part fit seamlessly? How will you do that to make sure that how you live and what you say and the part you play fits into what's gone before and what lies ahead? Have a great day. God bless. And I'll see you again tomorrow for Feel Good Friday on Church at Home with Rachel.